the first day as well, there have been a number of studies that have focused on actually whether that type of training can have the same effect as when you are running. And this is one of the studies where they compared running 4 times 4 minutes at 90 to 90% of maximum heart rate with different types of drills. And you have to answer the next question: which are the one with running and which are the one with playing? You can first see there's not much difference. What does this figure show us? You want to explain that to us? No? Anybody who wants to explain what that shows? Yeah. What does it show? This shows the heart rate, and heart rate zones less than 80%, 80 to 85, and so on. And here, the only place where we have a difference is 95 to 100. Which one is the highest? The running or the playing? Who says playing? Let me pose the question differently. Who says running? Excellent! You're all right, because this is playing, isn't it? So you're all right? Yes, you get actually a higher heart rate when you're playing. Excellent, you did very well. Good chance to pass. So, what's the other thing? You train the muscles specifically in the way you're going to use them. That's the way it is. What is he doing? He's doing some exercise that may look like the things he is doing in the game. So he's actually training these muscles in a way that's specific, isn't it? Technical, tactical elements are trained under physical demanding conditions. Important? Yes, that's good. Now you're starting. That's good. Tactical elements and overlap. 2 Arsenal players and overlap in a very simple 3 against 3 drill. Motivation. Does it make a difference? They love to run, these guys, these players. But sometimes we like to play a bit of football as well. And maybe illustrated with this guy. You see him actually seemed to enjoy himself. He didn't realize that he was going to lose the ball a few minutes after that, but he seemed to be quite happy at least at that moment. So, you can control it, you just find the right moves for that particular type of activity. Let me just take you through a few studies we did recently where we focused on what we call speed endurance production training. So we talk about the anaerobic training, you have the speed training, you have the speed endurance training, and I'll just take you through a few studies with production training. And these were not performed with football players, but were done with endurance athletes. What we did, one study, 16 runners, divided them in 2 groups, 4 weeks with reduced amount of training, but including now speed endurance training in a way where they did 30 seconds, 90 to 95% of the maximum speed, with 3 minutes of rest, 8 to 12 times. What happened with the training was that they decreased from about 44 kilometers per week, with a average speed about 13 kilometers per hour, to about 6 kilometers. So, a reduction in the amount of training, but doing those 30 seconds intervals, they performed significantly higher speeds. What happened with the intermittent exercise performance, as we've seen the yo-yo test, intermittent recovery test, what happened with doing that? They had a 19% improvement. Reduction, 15% in the normal training, at 19% increase in performance. Not too bad, is it? We also tested them in the laboratory with a treadmill. What happened there? Improvements in the first exercise part, 25%, 18% in the second. So can we explain that now? Maybe, maybe not. But what happened then? We took a muscle biopsy on these guys. And you remember those alpha 1 and alpha 2 now from the sodium potassium pump and the beta. And what did we see? Significantly elevated levels of those. Despite they have reduced the training to about 15% of their normal training, they have an improvement of the number of subunits of that sodium potassium pump. Does that fit with our theory? two possibilities, yes or no. And the answer is yes. More punch, more potassium back, the better it is. There was a number of other problems we were measuring and we won't concentrate on them now. Okay, we could see also lower potassium levels. What happened with the 10K performance? Unnatural. So, no effect on the long-term performance. This is not what you do in real life. Go from one type of training to another type of training. So what did we do here? 25% reduction in training. We repeated those 30 seconds bouts, again with 3 minutes of rest. So they had not only that type of training, but we also still had some aerobic high intensity training, low intensity, and some moderate. But 25% reduction in training. What happened with that? Significant improvement again in the first exercise bouts, as you can see here. What happened with the alpha and beta units? Here you have them again, alpha 1, alpha 2. A significant increase, at least in that case, in alpha 2. I won't ask you whether that fits with Serie. I think whether the answer could be the same as before. What happened now? Long-term performance. 10K, 37 minutes before. After 6 weeks of that type of training, 36 minutes. 1 minute improvement in a 10K. Performing 30 seconds of exercise class. Not impressed. 6 out of 12 runners had a new personal record, even though they've been running for more than 5 years. But they were happy. No, not I can see that, but they were quite happy for the first time to run a 10K for some of them under 36 minutes. So it appears that that type of training is actually working. Does it work in football? And I won't make a long story out of that, just saying it looked like, because we had a group that did that for 2 weeks, a training similar to what you saw, reduction in the amount of training, but that speed endurance training. Here they had an improvement in the yo-yo intermittent recovery test, and we also had a group that were inactive. Don't stay inactive. 2 weeks of inactivity has a significant effect on your performance. So that's new for you, isn't it? That was one of the new points. Don't stay inactive for 2 weeks. Speed. We also tested repeated speed, and you can see the group that performed that speed endurance training had a significant decrease in performance. Increase in performance, because the times are shorter for a 20-meter sprint, 15 seconds of rest, so performance was better. Okay, we are approaching an end now, Mr. Chairman. Okay, what happened with the sodium potassium pump? It did also increase with these soccer players. So 2 weeks apparently had a significant effect on their performance. So what do we do in real life? Here we have to apply that to the soccer field, and we need to understand how are they actually working, the guys we are dealing with. For example, in this case, an Italian attacker. So what did we do? And this is about 10 years ago now. What did we do? Some very specific type of exercises for that attacker. He had the ball, then he was there, he was running back, received the ball, had a dribbling, put the ball back to Zidane. Zidane played the ball down here, he turned around, got the ball down here, he was running around the cones, he was shooting, he was running there, received another ball, he was going around there and he was shooting. 21 seconds, 3 minutes of rest, he's ready again. Is that specific exercise for him? Yes. Looks like. As he has a very characteristic way of running until he can get back. He's turning here, and what does he do like this? He doesn't look at the ball. He did that in that exercise. Well, in this case, he understood he was going to get it. He doesn't do that always in the game. But a very specific exercise. Okay, so it's possible. The aerobic training, let me do that very briefly. Aerobic high intensity training, just one example. Deep, as you probably all know, 5 against 5 in this case, the green against the blue. The blue has the ball. If they have the ball, they can place one player there. The ball is played there, that means all the players have to go there. If they are not going there, you say maximal 8 passes, then you have to go there. Then they start running. If they do too much, then it becomes anaerobic training. You say minimum 8 passes. You can control everything. You're the coach. You don't ask anything. You just change the rules, and you are in control. This is not for top class players because that's not specific. So what do you do when you have a top class team? You put them in the position they are. In this case, you play 8 against 8. And what's happening here, for example, this guy has the ball, Serie, he loses the ball to Symposia. What's happening then? Okay, Trezeguet sees the opportunity, he goes there. What does Symposia do? He takes a little dribble and then kicks the ball there. What's happening then? In order to score, all the team has to go there. What's happening then? He gets the ball, who's going to support him? Oh, maybe Nedved could support him, maybe Del Piero could go there. Yes, he does, because he needs the support. Maybe there are 2 touches, so they have to be there. So what are we doing now? We not only do fitness training, we also do technical training. A long ball for Symposia. What is Trezeguet doing with the ball? He takes it, put it back. Who's coming there? Okay, there's some tactical things. We have a guy coming. So suddenly they are playing in their position as in the game. So we have the tactical aspect, we have the technical aspect. If we have the physical aspect, yeah, we have a good chance to evaluate that. One way is measuring the heart rate, and you can go and see how each player has reflected to that type of activity. And you see that these 2 players, they are reaching those 95% maximum heart rate by doing this. Did it work? Apparently, yes. And you can be more specific. So, that was the end of my introduction to this scene. And if you have an interest in reading more about it, there is a book, and you can also look at this homepage if you have an interest in understanding further about some of the things that we are dealing with, but also there is a resume of different scientific studies, so it may be worthwhile to visit that once in a while. And by that, I would like to thank you and all the people that have contributed. This is just a part of them, and by that, I would like to thank you. I'm very sorry that the speaker went over the time, so we won't have any time for questions. But we will take that at the end if you have any, so we will move on to the next.